following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, this is Ken Gidge, and this is The Art of Politics, and this is Ken Gidge. I am the Democrat, the ultra-liberal Democrat that ran the conservative, the ultra-conservative Republican. I ran him right out. He's not going to run for, you're not, are you? How are you?
Back to reality.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, this is Bill O'Brien. Here we go. Gee, it's like we're starting all over again.
Well, it's good to see you this week.
I do want to take the credit for running you out.
I know you do. Too bad you can't. I know you do.
I don't think the show helped you at all. Well, last week we got really complicated with you and we argued about media, but why don't we come up to some realities that are taking place? One is war in Syria. What the hell is going on?
We'll see how that develops. I mean, things are changing on a daily basis over there. What seemed to be almost a foregone conclusion and is now becoming less likely.
What were we going to do?
Is an attack on Syria. You know.
Yeah, but what? Who? How?
Well, it was certainly that the how is you use planes and cruise missiles, I suppose. The reason though is much more difficult to explain, at least for me and you. I know we've talked off air about it. I just don't see that there is a national interest at play here, other than the potential of us joining other countries to make it clear that governments don't use chemical weapons in their wars or on their population.
Well, as we know before the show started, we do know that the British Parliament voted no, they will not be involved with this.
So sure, and I gather from what we've heard so far that it's not clear that the Syrian government used chemical weapons. But if that isn't a known fact, if that isn't something that we can clearly operate on, then we're left with a civil war being fought by various participants, none of which are favorable to the United States. And certainly while you hate to see civil wars go on.
We don't really know that. We don't really know that. When you got a dictator like that, the United States can be very popular, but not, one just cannot in that country go around publicizing it. And the other thing is, which we haven't talked about, I'm sure we will, is the humanitarian. We should not be the police of the world. We do know that Russia is...
We should be the welfare worker for the world?
Well, there you go again. I knew somehow you're going to get...
I mean, what do you say? We shouldn't be the police of the world, but we need to be the social worker to the world?
No, but maybe social workers in a sense.
No, Ken.
You don't think that we should do something, help out somehow to get these people to stop fighting?
The world is a nasty place. It's a big, bad, nasty place. We have a lot of problems here at home we have to solve.
We've always had a lot of problems.
We have, for example, a president that during the time that he's been president has managed to lose million jobs. We have 6 million
Oh,
jobs
wait,
fewer in this country
wait.
than we had when Barack
So
Obama became president. So instead of addressing that problem, that humanitarian crisis, we're going to search around the world and say, oh, there's a civil war there.
Wait a minute.
Bad thing. Let's jump into the
wait a
civil
minute.
war.
We lost jobs. Let me see. This very month, car sales, and by the way, the Republicans are the ones who wanted to, let it all go bankrupt. Car sales are going to be the largest selling month in the history of the automotive industry. Of course, Barack Obama had nothing to do with that.
Since Barack Obama became president, 7 out of every 8 jobs that have been created in this country are part-time jobs. Do you know that 53% of the people working in this country now
Are you making that statistic?
earn $30,000 or less? No, those are verifiable facts. $30,000 or less.
And it's you guys, the Republicans, who do not want to let more people get on to Medicaid because they don't have any insurance.
Well, first of all,
because they don't have the jobs.
I like the poor, and I don't want to kill them through Medicaid because
here we go.
Medicaid's a dangerous way to get your medical insurance.
Exactly.
And moreover,
if you have insurance.
Moreover, what you're trying to do, you Democrats, the way you refer to you Republicans, you Democrats want to extend welfare, which has kept the African Americans in an underclass status.
Wait a minute.
You want to make welfare, free medical care available to the middle class. At some point, this is going to come to an end, Ken.
Excuse me.
Socialism is a great thing until you run out of other people's money. And we're running out.
Hold on a second. We as a state put money into the federal government, and it's not bad to get a little bit of it back, like $800,000 a day that we're going to get for Medicaid here in the state of New Hampshire, and it's you Republicans who do not want it. $800,000 a day. 46,000 people, 61% of them.
Where's that money coming from?
61% of them are women, and the Republicans wonder why they're having a problem. You don't know where to start.
No, there's so much. There's so much that's inaccurate. But let's start with the first inaccuracy, which is we put the money in.
Yeah.
No, we don't. It's made up money. It's made up money. Either we're borrowing it from China or the Federal Reserve is just making it up.
Yes. Here in the state, we don't send money to.
No, you're saying 800,000 a day. You're changing.
We don't get. No.
If you're going to argue a point, you got to stay on the point, not migrate it.
You said
$800,000 a day. You're saying we put that in.
Coming in to this state of New Hampshire.
And you're saying because we sent it out, we should get it back. Is that your argument?
Yeah, no, I would think
42% of it is borrowed money.
To ensure the people who don't have insurance, yeah, I'd like to have some of it back. 48,000 people, and
42% of that is borrowed money. It's made up money. You're borrowing it from your kids and your grandkids and their kids. So that's wrong.
People who are on Medicaid who have insurance are in more trouble if they have insurance than they don't have insurance because Medicaid does what?
So let's
you have said that.
In fact, it does. The University of Virginia study shows that it's better to go into a hospital.
Kills people.
It's better to go into a hospital without insurance than with Medicaid.
Oh,
the University of Virginia.
God.
It's unfortunate. Facts are stubborn things.
If they don't have any, so they walk through the door with no insurance at all. Who pays for that?
We always did.
We always did.
Unreimbursed patient care paid for it, and it paid for it at a higher rate than Medicaid does. And the result of that is, as shown by the University of Virginia study, you're more likely to survive as a surgical patient if you have no insurance than if you have Medicaid.
Then you have insurance. Now, wait a minute. Let's get this straight. Medicaid is insurance.
No, it isn't. It's welfare.
It's an insurance policy for people who do not have the money or cannot afford insurance.
Welfare,
it is.
Ken.
Oh, I see. So it's okay. So what you're saying is people who are on welfare who really need insurance money or to have insurance. No, they should not be in Medicaid.
No, I'm not saying that at all because I don't agree that they really need it.
48,000 people in the state of New Hampshire doesn't need insurance.
Moreover, what I am saying is that a welfare program that only pays for 40% of the cost of medical coverage, of medical services, is the type of program that I wouldn't want you to go to a hospital with, and I certainly don't want to go to a hospital with. I'd rather go in uninsured, knowing that the hospital will take the bill and send it to the state of New Hampshire and get paid more than 40% of it.
Well,
now the
wait a
university
minute.
now you
Hold on.
can't you
Okay,
can't
all right.
shout
The
over
university what?
the University of Virginia studied almost 1 million operations taken from a 3-state area, Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York, and said, let's just ask a question. Randomly chose that million and said, let's ask what kind of insurance they had and what the results were. And they found that if you have your own private insurance, you were 97% less likely to die
So by having Medicaid,
if you had Medicaid. But
so
what
in
was
other words,
really
so what you
surprising,
say, it's like a rattlesnake?
what is
you
really
don't want it, it's
surprising,
gonna bite you,
what
kill
is
you?
really surprising now, they didn't have to shout over this fact. It was just a fact that was shown in the statistics.
But you're
It was
saying
13%.
They've got insurance, and now you're saying people without any insurance is far better going into the hospital, walking through the door, which we pay for anyway,
you know,
with no insurance at all.
You said far. I never uttered the word far. What I did say was 13% less likely to die than if you have surgery as an uninsured patient. And the reason is because hospitals get reimbursed a greater portion of the cost.
Okay.
They're not trying to move you out
So
of there.
wait a minute.
Now-
So
now
wait a
let
minute.
me
So
tell you
are you
another-
saying that the doctors who do the operations on people with Medicaid are
I'm
worse?
not saying anything
Are
other.
worse?
I'm not saying.
But you're
anything
saying that
other-
they die.
I'm not saying anything other than the facts. The fact is the 13% more likely to die. Now, if you want,
No,
if
well,
you
well,
want to use
they
that,
don't give them the
if
better
you want to
hospital,
use
they don't
that
give
as
them
a
equal
fact to
hospital.
demonize doctors,
I know,
go-
but they don't give them good medical care.
again, 13% more likely to die. You can draw your conclusions out of that. Some conclusions seem to make sense. I don't know,
Well,
though.
if they
I don't know. I know I don't
have
want to go
Medicaid-
into hospital with Medicaid.
Medicaid insurance.
Welfare program.
Okay, so what you're saying that because they have Medicaid, they're treated poorly in hospitals.
I'm not saying anything. I said 13%.
They die, 13% more
is that
die.
Is that your conclusion?
Well, that's what you just said.
I didn't say that. I said the 13% more likely to die. Now,
Well, that's what I just said.
okay. Now, no, you want me to take the next step and somehow say bad doctors, bad hospitals, rush
what
down.
is it
All I
then?
know is
But what is it then?
what is
the
it?
study
Don't
showed
go
that.
into hospital
With
Medicaid.
any
don't
insurance.
try to extend Medicaid because it's not good for people. Now you made
No,
another
no,
mistake.
wait a minute.
You
It's-
made
no,
another
no,
mistake.
No, it's not good. Wait a minute. It's not good for people.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, people who have Medicaid, 13% potentially of dying more than if you have a regular insurance policy. That's what you said.
No. Then if you have no insurance, you're
Oh, okay.
97% more likely to die than if you have private insurance.
All right, so
This is the results of the study.
Okay, so the reason is if you have Medicaid, all right, you're saying the hospitals don't treat you as good, the doctors are not as good.
Listen.
Then why do
Ken.
they die? Why do
Li-
13% more people die on
listen,
Medicaid?
Listen, Ken, if you go into a hospital with private insurance, Anthem, they're going to pay much more than the cost of care for you.
Okay.
They're going to pay about 110 to 120% of the cost of care because they have to cover Medicare insurance, which doesn't cover the full cost, but covers around 60 or 70%. They're going to have to cover Medicaid patients, which only 40% is covered. So if you go in there as a private insured patient,
You're treated better.
they love to see you. They love to see you.
So, but you
So-
can't.
so you're given more treatment
but-
because they're getting paid
but
well
you
for that
can't
treatment.
say if you have
Who cares the
Medicaid
reason?
and 13% more die than if you have regular insurance, 97% are far better off that you said, then what you have to be saying is people on Medicaid are not getting proper treatment.
They're not getting as much treatment.
They're not getting, the doctors are not good, better.
I have no idea.
Hospitals are
I'm
not
sure-
better.
I'm sure it's the same
Well,
doctors.
you're the one who brought up the statistics in these two studies.
Why do you
Why
want,
are they
why do
dying?
you want to go to the irrelevant? The relevant is
irrelevant,
the
they're dying.
relevant. The relevant is what we were discussing, which is should we extend Medicaid? And so
Yeah.
I've made a very persuasive argument. We shouldn't extend Medicaid because it's not an effective way for people to get care. So let me tell you one other thing. Let me tell you one other thing.
I know, but people don't have money, so they're really running out bills.
There's your mistake. I wish you'd let me get to this point.
They're going into bankruptcies, etc.
I wish you'd let me get to this point.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the point is that in New Hampshire, if we extend Medicaid, the figure's been given that 58,000 people will come under Medicaid who aren't getting Medicaid now. There's been a use of that figure by saying 58,000 people will get insurance. No.
I didn't say 50. I've been saying 48.
Well, 48, 58. In point of fact, 33,000 of those will come off of private insurance.
How do you know?
Because that is what the studies show. That's the experience. That's the experience in Maine.
Study that you just said.
Maine extended Medicaid to higher income levels. That's what we're talking about. Just
higher income levels.
That's what we're talking about here, don't you know?
No.
That's what we're talking about.
Well, really,
here.
a person who makes less than $15,000 should not have.
But understand what we're talking about here, just so there's no confusion among the viewers here, is the choice is.
And I'm not doing my job.
Yeah, the choice is. Shall New Hampshire go from 66% of the federal poverty level as being the cap for Medicaid up to 138% of the federal poverty level for Medicaid? And the argument is, whether it's 48 or 58,000, that'll expand the number of people receiving Medicaid by
insurance.
Medicaid welfare.
Insurance.
It's not insurance. Insurance is something that you go to an insurance company and you buy it. This is called.
Well, that's
you go to your welfare office.
That's called Obamacare.
No,
they go and they buy insurance. No. Oh, wait a minute. You don't like Obamacare.
Just stick to the facts.
Did we start off right here?
Just stick to the facts.
You're making the money now. I'm not.
It's not insurance. It's welfare. I mean, you don't call up John Hancock and say, I want some of that old Medicaid now. It's a premium. You call up your welfare office, or you go on the exchange and they give you a free government.
But they don't have an exchange here in the state because the
Republicans
didn't want it.
There's going to be a federal exchange.
So now the federal is
we didn't want
to
pay for it. We didn't want to have state finances hijacked.
Well, but I thought you Republicans.
I really want to reach this point because it shows exactly what you're doing.
I want to keep things rolling.
And I know you don't want this to happen. So 58,000. That's not. 33,000 already have insurance. So what you want to do in order to
where do you get that number?
It's the numbers that have been given to us by the state, by the welfare people, by Health and Human Services.
Are they saying that 58,000, we'll use 10,000, 48,000 people, half of those people already have insurance?
Yes.
That's what they're saying.
Yes.
You could bring that in and you could show me statistically, I could hold it up, I could say, what a fool I bet.
Yes, because you know what will happen, Ken?
No, but you do have those numbers.
You know what will happen? It happened in Maine, it will happen here. Department of Health and Human Services anticipates it, because if I'm an employer of you and you're earning, say, between 100% and 138% of federal poverty level, your guy who works for Walmart. Walmart, by the way, does provide private insurance now. You're going to be sitting there going, you want to know what? If I don't buy insurance for Ken, who I like, he's my employee, I want him to make sure he has something on medical coverage, he'll be able to go on to Medicaid. And so I'll save money, I'll pay a little fine, but it's okay. Or I'll make sure I get all my part-time people who are 50 below and 50 and number below, so I won't get fined by Obama. And everything will be great. That's why you have this effect of people losing their insurance and going on Medicaid.
As long as you can come back and show me the statistics that the state showed that 1/3 or 25% of the 48,000 or 58,000.
No, it's more than 25%.
25% of the 58.
It's more like 60%.
Okay.
Will be people who are present.
Who are already insured, have insurance.
Private insurance.
Who already have private insurance.
Private insurance.
60%.
It will be 33,000 out of the 58.
I don't believe that.
I'm sorry, facts are stubborn things.
Well, we'll have the facts. But I also don't believe
and so what we're doing
that a person who has insurance is far better off, no matter what the insurance is.
So now I want to draw a line underneath all this addition and get you to the point that you should be uncomfortable to be found at, which is you're taking those 33,000 people and you're saying, according to the University of Virginia study, you have some insurance that's going to be pretty good for you, but we're going to give you medical care that is so substandard that you're almost 90% more likely to die in surgery.
Well,
Do you Democrats not like poor
no,
people?
You know,
Well,
I've been
why are you
letting this
doing
go
this?
on with
Why
the
are you
study.
doing
No, I've been going on with letting you go with the study. What the study simply says is this. Anybody who goes under, they call it the knife, put under with whatever is used, there's more of a chance of dying, and people do, it is showed statistically when doctors have gone on strike and elective surgery was not done, more people lived. That's what your study says. Your study does not say if a person has a cancer and cannot afford it or has an illness.
That's all pretty irrelevant, Ken. It really is, because we're talking about surgery for anyone. If in fact,
well, that's
you know,
not
the other,
surgery.
you know
where does it say if somebody wants a nose job, for God's sakes, which is an elective surgery, that we're going to give it?
It's the surgery they're talking about is comparable surgery. It's not, you know, I went in to have a nose job and you went in to have your cancerous liver taken out. You're more likely to die.
But
it's comparing apples to apples.
But you can't.
And the other thing that people have said is,
oh,
but
people
Medicare
with insurance are more, well, because it's a Medicaid insurance, have the more chance of dying. And I'm saying too, people with insurance have a less chance of dying. But you're saying this study shows the complete opposite. So people with no insurance live longer than people who have insurance? Or people who have insurance live longer?
I don't know how you arrived at that statement. You know.
I was hoping we were going to change the subject quickly. Right?
What I am saying is that it's better to have private insurance if you want to survive surgery.
And that's what Obamacare is, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
Going out and buying insurance?
No.
Everybody?
No, Obamacare does a number of things. One of the things it does...
But, they do have to go out and buy insurance,
One of the things it does is take Medicaid, the welfare medical coverage for poor people, which was put in place with the assumption that the poorest of the poor, the bottom 2 or 3%, would get some coverage, some medical care. And it's expanding it in New Hampshire to 20% of the population. In other states, because New Hampshire is an affluent state, it's a much higher percentage. And not only is it bad coverage, in the end, it's unsustainable. We cannot afford that. Don't you know that we're running out of money? These welfare programs have to end. We have to...
Whoa. Hold on a second. Wait a second. If you think people with no insurance are far better off than people on Medicare who have an insurance, then
all I'm doing is saying that the University of Virginia study
Then the University of Virginia is saying because they have this Medicaid, they get poorer doctors, poorer care, and they die more.
They didn't say any of that. What they said is that if you go into comparable surgery with Medicaid paying the bills, you're 13% more likely to die.
Then you're saying you're under the knife with a doctor who's not competent.
No, they aren't saying that. I imagine it's the same doctors. What they are saying is that the care, paying a hospital 40% of the cost of your care is not how you want to go into a hospital.
No.
If as opposed to having private insurance, which 33,000 people
that's what
will lose if Medicaid.
Isn't that what Obamacare is? Is where we go out and we buy it and
no, Obamacare does. As I said, it does two things. You want to know what Obamacare does? Two main things. A lot of taxes and a lot of things are just outrageous. But it does two main things to expand coverage. One is it hijacks state finances by expanding Medicaid with this idea that 3 years will pay 100%. For some time after that, we'll pay 90%, and all bets are off after that. And as a matter of fact, all bets are off now because already President Obama himself, during the last sequestration crisis, offered to come up with called a blended rate. Already offered to back off on that. But that's one thing it does is expand Medicaid.
Wait a minute. The sequestration. So that means that things like the Kellyard who voted, we are not going to...
So let's not go argue sequestration. All I'm saying is during sequestration, Barack Obama already offered to back off from that promise. So I think the quality of that promise can be judged by the fact that even before it began to be fulfilled, President Obama
You may,
offered to
but
back off.
we started off with this when you said 6.5 million people are out of work since he's come into office.
You know, the number of jobs is less. But there's two ways, as I said, that Obamacare expands medical availability according to them. One is by expanding Medicaid, which will be disastrous for states. The second way it is this private obligation to buy insurance. And there's one reason that every economist will acknowledge, which is you got to get young people to buy insurance so they can subsidize old, unhealthy people. And so the average person who is 30 years or under spends quite a bit less than $1,000 a year on medical care because you're young, you're healthy. Yet their policy, their private policy, will cost them, depending on the state, somewhere around $8,000 a year.
Oh, no, come on now.
It will,
come on.
Ken, it will.
Come on, what you talking, 600 a month or something like that? Come on.
Yeah, 600 a month.
That's ridiculous.
No,
That's absolutely ridiculous. Are you trying to tell me that someone's going to write?
No, they're going to have to. The average family policy.
We really don't know what it is going to be, do we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
You will bring in those numbers
next
week also.
If we believe Obama, if we believe the Obama administration and what they're projecting now, it's going to be about $8,000 a year for a private individual
you're scaring
policy.
people now, and that's not fair because I don't believe
so
that's factual.
So this is a tax on young people. This is a war on young people.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
So that's
Bill.
the two ways of doing it.
No.
One is by warring on young people and by warring on states' finances.
Well, I don't know where to go with this. First of all, if you have Medicaid, you're more chance to die. But then you're saying that it's not the doctors and not the hospitals just having the Medicaid. And now you're going to.
I'm not saying that, Ken. You can't put words in my mouth. What I wasn't going to do was invite.
But I did get you to stop running for Congress, though.
I'm not going to go down your path of you putting words in my mouth, demonizing doctors and hospitals. There's no point to it.
Well, that's what you said, though.
No, I'm not saying anything other than
you just said other than somebody else said it.
There's a University of Virginia study that shows something. There can be many reasons for it. It could be all the hospitals are wrong. It could be the docs are doing the darndest they can, as they sure they am, to give good care. But there's fewer tests being done because Medicaid won't pay for it. We don't know why that's occurring. What we do know is that it is occurring.
We got 5 minutes more. I want you to say two good things about Obama.
Well, come 2017, January 2017, he'll be going back into private life.
Really making some money.
That's a pretty good thing.
All right, okay, that's good. All right, that's one of these.
And his election, I think, demonstrated something really laudatory about the country, which is a desire to get past race.
To what?
To get past race in our politics.
Oh, I think. I
had a lot of relatives who voted for Obama, and
because he was black.
I think they certainly welcomed the opportunity to demonstrate exactly what Martin Luther King was talking about during his.
Which is a pretty good way, probably, to end up the show.
Which is, well, we should not be concerned about the color of someone's skin. Unfortunately, his administration has turned to playing the race card so often.
What?
And been enabled by the media that's really set race relations.
You were doing so good up to this point, where you said that people that you knew voted for him just because he was a black man, and
not just because.
And now you're
but
saying
certainly
he's
they
playing
welcome
the race
opportunity.
card. How is Obama playing the race card?
Well, in Trayvon Martin, for example, he said that person looks like me because he's black. Didn't say that about the young Australian baseball player and university student who was killed out in Oklahoma a couple of weeks ago.
By 3 black people.
We didn't say, and moreover, I would have been outraged if George Bush had got up and said, when there was a potential racial incident like that Australian kid looks like the son I could have had.
I want to do a whole show on that because I know women in the city of Nashua who are state representatives now, I'm really in trouble, who voted for Terry Norelli because she was a woman. And we had in the city of Nashua, David Campbell running for the speakership. And that's a whole other, these are good things to bring up.
Yeah.
And but we really have to say goodnight again.
Yeah, I mean, it's good talking to you this week, and you know, look forward to it next week, and we can talk about that. I know it's going to be a little bit embarrassing for you and your party, but we got to get into it.
Oh,
Ken.
I just love it.
We got to get into it.
No, I'm glad that you took the job, and it's
thanks, Ken.
because it seems like it fits you. And it's your type of work, and it's true, you have politically, I did run you out from running for Congress. I mean, we have, no, I didn't, all right.
Well, but if you got me the job,
I got you the job.
once again, you know, I appreciate that.
Right.
I didn't know you had that pull in the European Union, and you apparently
what I
did.
do. Okay, my name is Ken Gidge, and you can get me at Gidge World, which is an art site, which is always changing anyway, or you can get me at area code 603-864-9332 or on Facebook yourself.
And I'm Bill O'Brien. You can get a hold of me primarily through either my legislative address, go on the state website for the general court, and you can find me there, or you can use my regular email address. That's williamlobrien@gmail.com, or call me on the phone, 620-8710. Thanks, Ken.
See ya.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.